Hi, good evening if you've just joined. I'm just going to wait till 6 o'clock to make sure that everybody is admitted, and then I will get going. So just a couple more minutes and then I will start. Okay, I'm going to get going then. So hi, and thank you for your time this evening. I am not going to be very long, so that you can all go off and get your dinner. So whether it be whether you're a student or a parent, thank you for joining me this evening. I'm Miss Drummond, I'm the head of English. And really the purpose of this evening and this meeting is just to make sure that you are aware of what things that you can do at home and at school to make sure that you achieve the grade 4, which you are more than capable of achieving in English. So as it says there, my first slide says, why have you been here? And I know that you've already had an email about this, but you've been identified as a student who would benefit from understanding what you need to do to ensure that you can achieve at least a grade 4 in both of your English GCSEs, because you get more than one GCSE in English. You get English language and English literature. It's a supportive measure. I've emboldened that bit. It's a supportive measure to help make sure that you realise your potential. So we've recognised and we've identified you as students who have got the potential to get the grade 4. We just want to make sure that you know exactly what you need to do and how you can work with your teachers, and also what you can do at home in order to make that a possibility. So I've broken it down into two sections. It's what's expected of me at school. I know it says home there, but what is expected of me at school? And then the second section is what can you do at home to improve your English? And then I'll ask if anyone has any questions, and then we can all go off to enjoy our evenings. So hopefully you can see this new slide which says what is expected of me at school. So I have bullet pointed a series of things that you can do at school in your English lessons to make sure that the grade 4 is possible to you, and you've got 2 years to make sure these become part of your routine and very much embedded within how you approach English and your English lessons over the next 2 years, because we're in year 10 now and you've got till the end of year 11 to make sure that this was part of your everyday practice. So the first thing there, and it kind of goes without saying really, make sure that your teachers are aware if you have any insecurities in any aspect of your understanding of the text or topics. So it might be that you're thinking, oh, I don't know what my teacher's going on about as you are sat in lessons. And as long as you put your hand up and express that, or if you're a bit kind of, you lack confidence to say that in front of the class, go and speak to your teacher at the end of the lesson or at lunchtime, but make sure that they know that you have insecurities about particular aspects of a topic or a text in English. And often they will pick that up when they mark your books, but it is good to flag it to your teacher so that they can address any misconceptions that you might have. So that's the first thing. The second bullet point, so often in English, you will be asked to do quite a lot of writing, a lot of written tasks, because in the exams, ultimately you have got to sit and write essays for, in some cases up to 2 hours. So the more you get used to writing, the better. But when you are given those written tasks, grasp every single second that is dedicated to writing in your English lessons. Sometimes as a classroom teacher myself and walking around, sometimes I see students dithering and kind of, I suppose procrastinating and not getting on with the task and not using that time dedicated to write. So make sure that you grasp every opportunity to practice. If you think about kind of, professional footballers, for example, they don't just go on for a football match at the World Cup expecting to win straight away. They have to keep practicing and practicing and training, don't they? And it's exactly the same with English. You have to keep on writing and practicing, training yourself to be good at it and to write lots in order that you can achieve in the exam. And as I put there, the more you write, the better at it you will become. Okay. The third bullet point, I wanted to make it a bit more kind of current for you. So you are currently studying an inspector calls. So in terms of what's expected of you at school, bring those texts, whether it be an inspector calls, whether it be later on in the year when you study a Christmas Carol, make sure that you have that text with you every single lesson and that you are fully annotating it. So when your teacher stops to discuss a character or a theme, or she says, that's a simile, or he says that's a metaphor, what can we deduce from that simile or metaphor? You must add those annotations to your copies of the text, because that's your revision tool. When you come back to revising an inspector calls, you want to have the notes there so that you can to revise from. Okay. So it's really important, have your text and your resources with you every lesson, but make sure that you are fully writing down everything and annotating it with everything that your teacher says. Fourth bullet point, it says you should have all of your resources, and that means your knowledge organizer, your vocabulary list, and copy of the text with you every lesson, and use these to help support you in your lesson. So as I've just said, you need your text, but also on top of that, your knowledge organizer and vocabulary list, because they help to support you in your lesson and often are a very useful, again, revision aid, particularly your knowledge organizer. So to have it there and to be constantly using it will help you practice kind of revision strategies. This next bullet point, you should aim to contribute to class discussion at least once every lesson. I put that there because some of us might be inclined to kind of sit back and relax, sometimes switch off. And allow kind of the lesson to pass us by. But if we actively try to engage and actively try to contribute at least once a lesson, hopefully that will mean that we're focused, that we're concentrating, and it will also give your teachers an opportunity to see, what your thoughts are and where you are at with your learning. So I would advise at least once. I would much prefer several times, but at least try to contribute once every lesson. And the final thing, what is expected of you, that is expected of you at school, is when your teachers give you feedback in your books, so they give you a strength and try now, I want you to keep referring back to those try now targets that they are giving you every time you do a piece of extended writing, because those targets apply for all of the pieces of writing, the tasks that you do. It isn't just an isolated task. Improve that one piece of writing and then never look at that feedback again. So keep looking back at the feedback that your teachers have given you, because they will help you. They've given them you specifically because that's what you need to do to improve. So keep drawing back to those and keep referring back to them when you are doing writing in the future. So that's at school. And then we've got this slide, which tells you about what to do at home. So these are all things that you can do independently. You don't have to rely on parents to get you to do this. This can be just you yourself in your bedroom, helping yourself. So these are the things that you can do at home to improve extra on top of homework, on top of anything that you have been set in the subject, and this is extra, but this is to achieve and try to make sure that we achieve that 4. So the first thing you should do is reread the text. So for example, we're going to finish an Inspectacles by Christmas, and you won't be tested on it, well, you won't do your GCSE on it until May next in 2023, which means between now and 2023, the likelihood is if you don't keep rereading it and revisiting that text, you are going to forget who Mrs. Burling is. You're going to forget what the plot is about and what happens to Eva Smith. So reread those texts, give yourself the opportunity never to forget. Don't allow yourself to forget the plot, characters and themes of a text. And the same applies to all of the different texts that we will do. Second of all, you should select and write down 5 short quotations from each of the texts. So whether that's an Inspectacles, A Christmas Carol, Macbeth, select just 5 short quotations from each of those texts. Write them down in big writing, stick them on your wall, use flashcards to help you, and learn them off by heart. So if you stick them on your bedroom wall and you keep seeing them between now and summer of 2023, I'm sure those 5 quotations will be embedded into your mind. You have to know off by heart quotations for those exams. So start now, stick them up in your bedroom. And if you're unsure about which quotations to select, speak to your teacher about which ones are most significant, and I'm sure they will offer you 5 short quotations straight away. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is I want to recommend that you go onto the Guardian newspaper online and go to the opinions section and read any of the articles which appeal to you from that section, and do that once a week. Okay, so all I'm asking you to read is 1 article a week, and it will take you about 15 minutes if that to read those articles. Once you have read the article, it would be really beneficial if you could summarise what is being argued and what the point of view of the writer is about the particular topic that you're reading about. And that will really help you with English language paper 2. Okay, so go on the Guardian online, go to the opinions section, just 1 article a week. You can choose from any of the articles, there are several, but just choose from one of them, and then summarise what you have read, and particularly focusing on what's being argued, because that's what you've got to write about in English language paper 2. And finally, I don't know whether it's cut off on your screen, it's slightly cut off on my screen, but my final bullet point is read for pleasure, and try and focus on some fiction as well, because you're reading The Guardian once a week, that's non-fiction. But reading for pleasure with fiction will really help with all aspects of your English GCSEs, both of them, but particularly it will be helpful for English language paper 1, which asks you to write creatively. So the more you read of creative writing, the more you will be able to emulate that yourself, the more you'll get used to different styles of narrative, different styles of description, and you will get better at it. It will also help to improve your spelling, your grammar, and your vocabulary. So those are my kind of 4 tips of things that you can do to improve your English, both language and literature, at home. And that is pretty much it from what I have got to say. And we've got about 7 minutes left. So if anybody has any questions, if you want to write them into the chat, I will do my best to answer them for you now. I'm not necessarily everybody on this call's English teacher, so it might be that I need to do a little bit of kind of asking around the department for answers. But if you have got a question, if you want to type it into the chat box now, that's absolutely fine. I'll do my best to answer it. If not, this session has been recorded, so you can watch back for the tips. So somebody has asked, can I recommend any past papers to practice with? If you just type into Google AQA English Language GCSE paper 1 or paper 2, they will come up. So they would be the best. They're the best ones because they're the most, I suppose, reflective of what the actual GCSE is. It is AQA, yeah. So it's AQA GCSE. I'll type it into the chat box here. So AQA GCSE English Language. And so English Language, paper 1, and then there's AQA, the English Language, paper 2. Okay, and then you can also do literature, but you'll have to wait until all texts have been studied, otherwise they won't be able to answer the questions on them. Going back to the next question, sorry. How is this going to be monitored by the parents, the school, as well as parents? So we will continue to track the data of your children and of our students, and class teachers have been made aware of this specific group of teachers to make sure that they are being monitored in class. So every time books are taken in, they are aware that if anything is not up to scratch or anything does seem there are any misconceptions, then they have been told, class teachers have been told to contact parents. As well as that, some students have currently been selected for intervention group, so extra English, and if your child hasn't yet been selected for that, then they will be kind of at the top of the list for the next lot of intervention. So we're definitely monitoring this group closely. The next one, how many different texts will they be learning for GCSE? So we've got an Inspector Calls, A Christmas Carol, Macbeth, then there's an unseen poetry element, and then there is also an anthology of poetry. So there's kind of 5 different literature texts, but the main kind of books, as it were, are an Inspector Calls, Macbeth, and A Christmas Carol. The anthology they're given at school, and Inspector Calls, they've already been given a copy of an Inspector Calls for everybody to keep, and then A Christmas Carol and Macbeth we will print. So they will be given them. You don't need to go and buy them. I hope that answers that question. The highest grade that can be obtained is a 9 because it's all the same paper. So there isn't a different paper for, there isn't like a foundation and a higher, it's all one paper. So the highest grade that they can obtain is a 9. I hope that's answered everybody's questions. If you have got any more, please feel free to put them in the box now, or if you want to email me, I can put my email address into the chat box now, which is what I will do. No problem. They have been given the book, so they don't have to, well, it's likely that they have been given the book to take home by their teacher, although some teachers will choose to keep them at school for them. Oh, right. You haven't been given the book, right? Could you give me your name, and then what I will do is, or your child's name, and then I'll just chase that up because they should have been given the book. Mind, you don't need to put it to everybody if you just want to send me the message. Ashton and Ethan Marie Higgins. Thank you. Okay, I'll find out about that because every student should have been given a copy of the book. It might be that the teacher has decided to keep the book in school for them, but they definitely should have been given a copy of the book. Yeah, if he's been absent, then yeah, he will get a book when he gets back. I'll make sure I'll email all of the English departments after this to make sure that they've all given out copies of the text. Any more questions, just let me know. No problem. No problem. Have a nice evening. Okay. Yeah, he might have been told that he can't bring it home just because the teacher wants to make sure that the copies aren't lost and that they've always got them in lessons. But once they finish studying the book, then I would suspect that the teacher will then let them take them home. It's just to make sure that it always comes back, so they've always got the text available every lesson and they don't forget things and things like that. So it could be that they have been given the book, but they've been told they can't bring it home just yet. That might be the case, but they will be allowed to bring it home eventually. No problem. Have a nice evening. No problem, thank you. If you've got any more questions, just put them into the chat box, or if you do want to email me, that's also fine.